dance for joy or lust or anger.
So welcome to Sensible Secondhand Reviews. We're here at Langley Prestige in Essex once again in this 2016 DS3 1.2 110 Chic. The DS3 was known as the Citroen DS3 until about 2015, when DS, as the French call it, it sounds like the French word for goddess. It reminds one of the old DS19 and DS23 that were made back in the latter part of the last century. I drove one of these actually as a hire car in Germany in 2016, and this is bringing back some quite nice memories of that, although that one was an automatic rather than a manual.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So the car was launched all the way back in 2010, but it was on sale for quite a long time, until 2019 to be precise. The platform is very similar to the Peugeot 208 and the Citroen C3 at the time, although it feels like a considerably more upmarket car than either of those. The basic engine was a 1.2 Puretech engine with 82 horsepower. That was accompanied initially by an engine I really shouldn't talk about, a 1.4 Prince engine with about 95 horsepower. That only lasted until 2012. I'm not really surprised, because yeah, the Prince engine's something we don't talk about on this channel. Yet again, I found myself mentioning it. The top of the range engine, but wasn't in the sort of really sporty ones, was a 120 horsepower 1.6 normally aspirated Prince engine. And then right at the top there were two high performance engines, a 1.6 turbo Prince engine with 155 horsepower, and then in the DS3 racing model, same 1.6 with 205 horsepower. Now later on, that 1.4 engine, the 1.6 normally aspirated engine, those were discontinued for the facelift in 2015, and a couple of new engines appeared. This 110 horsepower 1.2 three-cylinder engine, Puretech, and then a 130 horsepower version of the same engine. Top of the range engine with 205 horsepower went up to 210 horsepower. There were also some diesels, but as usual, rather like the Prince engine, we don't talk about diesels on this channel. Wow, you can really feel that little three-cylinder thrum. Gearbox is quite nice, although this gear knob feels absolutely massive for whatever reason. The ride is relatively compliant in this car. It's probably a little bit harder in things like the performance versions and the racing. I just like the three-cylinder thrum. it just sounds good. Steering is, I think, electrically assisted in this car. To be honest, it feels pretty good. It actually seems to be feel. I don't know if that's artificial or not, but there we go. Yeah, certainly a nice little car to drive this. Right viewers, I'm afraid it is a little bit windy today. You can see maybe in the background the shadow of a wind turbine turning around. I've always thought the DS3 is quite a good looking car. I am a bit dubious though about this kind of shark fin thing. I don't really know what to think of it. I still don't know what to think of it now. This Chic model has 16-inch wheels with relatively tall tyres, which gives the car actually quite a good ride. There are some kind of minor little dents and things that are going to be sorted out in this car, and it does need a clean. The car has just come in to Simon at Langley Prestige, and it does need a few things doing to it. Which is why it's not in kind of, you know, sort of top photography condition really. In the boot, it's actually about the same size as a Ford Fiesta, and yeah, it's absolutely filthy in here. There's no doubt about it. It's filthy. Yeah, there should be a tyre inflation kit down there. The car's actually only done 14,000 miles, but apparently this has been sitting in someone's driveway for a little while, so that's why it's a bit like this. Right, just hold on a second, viewers, whilst I put this carpet back properly. Right, there we are. That boot light needs tucking back in, which will be done, and that just needs a little clean as well. I do think the overall profile of this car is quite good, and when you compare that with I don't know, something like an R56, 57 Mini, there is actually more space at the back. I have been in the back of one of these, I think. There we go, we've got this. It's a bit like a Peugeot 208 really, it's not no surprise, they are based on the same platform. There are 5 seat belts in this car, but I wouldn't say it's the best 5-seater. The windows are, I suppose, reasonably large, but it does feel very, very dark in here thanks to this dark headlining. Whoop, just as well. My leg was out the way there. Bit of a windy day, viewers. So, little grab handles here. Let's just see if I move this back, if there's actually any room for me here. Not particularly is the answer to that. There's no central armrest in here. There are some sort of door bins either side. And sorry about this light, by the way, if I can just do that, there we go. There's a big sort of cubby here. I think on higher spec models that would be an armrest. Thank goodness, conventional handbrake. I do like a conventional handbrake, viewers. Right, let's put the seat forward again and see if I can get into the front and open that door very, very carefully. It's actually not that bad getting into the back. I'm holding, whoops, there we go. I'm holding the door just so it doesn't blow because it's closed again. Let's just hold that carefully and just do it myself. There we go. Right. Quite nice instruments in this car actually. You see, it's definitely not a Citroen, although the early ones were. This has the sort of a lower specification type of heating and ventilation controls, just standard air conditioning in this car. Don't know what's supposed to be there. I mean, the screen's up top of there, so not really sure. Right, I'll have to hold my hand up there. There we go. So you can see the screen. So we don't get too sort of poor light. We'll have a look at that in a second. If I can just show you the gear lever. This is a 5-speed manual in this particular car. There was an automatic available. In fact, I've driven automatic. No point in me even trying the secret mission documents in there because I know they won't go in. Let's see if they'll go in here. That's better. Very, very, very long doors. So if you only near a multi-storey car park, it's not so good really. Weirdly, the volume control for the stereo is down here and it's 2 little fiddly buttons. See what? And those are nothing. Nothing at all. You could have put a volume knob or something there. There's plenty of room for it. I like the key. It's quite nice actually. It's different from the standard sort of Peugeot Citroen keys of the era. If I just switch hands over like that. And we've put the key in, there we are. No auto lights or wipers on this car, though the high spec ones did come with those. Cruise control is just down here, and the stalk for the stereo is just sort of there. It's difficult to actually film it. There it goes. Just put that in so we can see the screen. There we go. DS Automobile. I like the headlight switch. It's in a good position now, as is the door locking switches on top of the dash. Right, the volume as many has come on, despite the fact I put it on 0. Okay, we need to go back to the home screen on this. Does that do it? No. Options? No. How do you go back, viewers? Here? Stored? No. Oh, come on. Weirdly, in this car, the little slider here is missing for the ventilation. I'll just put it in that sort of side there. That's where we have it most of the time, but needs to be kind of there for having free flow ventilation. I don't think there's anything else to see on the screen, viewers. Yeah, that's it. This hasn't got sat nav, so I think that's really the entire thing. I remember when I drove the hire car in Germany, it had a sat nav in it, so it clearly just doesn't have it. There you are, very low mileage, just over 14,500 in this particular car. It does look nice. I mean, these are straight out of the Peugeot Citroen parts bin, but the wheel is good. Flat bottom, it seems to be the fashion these days. This material here reminds me of the stuff in my Road 45 V6, and it sags the best, but this is nice and tight, as you'd expect, and this is, I think that's a soft touch. The wheel actually has telescopic adjustment in it, so it is quite comfortable. And this sort of dark grey trim on here does make it look a lot nicer than most of the cars of this type. Is that a pollen filter? Yeah, I think there's a little cartridge thing you could take out to change the sort of sense you could get. That feels nice as well. That's hard plastic though, which is a bit of a disappointment. Visibility's not great, you can't see a lot. I'm very pleased that when I drove as a hire car in Germany had a reversing camera. This one does not, or parking sensors, they're absent too. I'm so sorry viewers, it is really windy out here. This is the 1.2 Puretech engine, in this case 110 horsepower. It is just a 3-cylinder unit. That bonnet stays in properly. Looks fairly accessible. There's green coolant in it or something. The grille is quite actually attractive on this car, as is the front end plate. Just normal projector bulb display. I think it's quite an attractive looking car. That's strange, front parking sensors. Do you actually get them on the back? No. Can't see them. That's strange. That's really weird, dude. Yeah, it's really, really weird. That's just a kind of sensor for autonomous emergency braking or something. Right, let's get in and out of this wind and go for another drive, I think. As Matt from the High Peak Autos channels what seems to do, I'm accelerating up the bypass. The engine actually feels quite strong and punchy. The dealer plate is in the screen because, well, it just kind of is. I could do the 6th gear, to be honest, viewers, because at about 3,000 RPM I'm turning over about 2,900 revs, so I could do with another gear for motorway cruising in this to go with the cruise control. Handling feels good. The steering has good amount of weight to it actually. Oh, there goes the plate across the bottom of the screen. It's always the way. As it is with the mount being in the way, I do apologise, viewers. Yes, but on these little back roads near Chelmsford, it feels good. The heat is certainly good. It's nice and toasty warm in here. You can see why people would prefer to buy one of these to, say, I don't know, a Vauxhall Adam or an R56 or 57 Mini, which were both on sale about the same time as this car. The Mini was replaced by the F55s in I think it was about 2014. So that's a different prospect, really. But yes, it feels very taut. I mean, that might be just because this car's done really low mileage, but it's feeling pretty good. The windscreen is quite a long way away, so got these enormous kind of side windows. Whoop, there goes the plate again. It's still in position though, so we're okay. There's obviously more body roll in this car than I thought there was. Right. I've had a lot of fun today. We do need to go and draw some conclusions about this car, and then I shall be taking it back to see Simon. Let's now look, viewers, at some trim levels for the DS3, formerly the Citroen DS3 before about 2015. There are a lot of them, and I mean a lot. We're talking probably between 30 and 40 trim levels in this car. So let's make a start, shall we? The BLA, the By All Achille, the Design, the Design by Benefit, the Design Noir by Benefit, the Design Plus, the D-Sport, the D-Sport Pink, the D-Sport Plus, the D-Sport Red, the D-Style, the D-Style by Benefit, the D-Style Ice, the D-Style Pink, the D-Style Plus, the D-Style Red, the D-Style Techno, the Ultra Prestige, and the WHI. I have no idea who All Achille, BLA, and WHI are. Then with the facelift, just the DS3, 1995, the Black Lizard, I think it says here, the Cafe Racer, the Chic, which is this one, the Connected Chic. I don't think this is the Connected Chic because we don't have the sat-nav. The Dark Light, the D-Style Nav, the Elegance, that's one of the normal trim levels, the Forever, the DS3 Forever, the DS3 Givenchy Le Makeup. Yes, I've got a Givenchy Le Makeup. The Ines de la Frissange. Ines de la Frissange. It's different from GL, isn't it? Parthenon Cream, Performance Black, Performance BRM Chronography, that's a bit of a mouthful, a Performance Liner Prestige, and the Racing. Well, that's an awful lot of trim levels here, and some of them have very confusing names. So, in conclusion, should you consider a DS3 with your hard-earned budget of between £1,000 and £5,000? Well, you're probably looking at an earlier car than this, probably one of the Citroen models. But they do drive actually quite nicely. The cabin quality is much nicer than I'd expect for a car with this kind of provenance on this chassis, and yes, it drives particularly nicely. But I would avoid all the Prince engines, all the Forbidden Fuel engines. Just stick with the Puretech for maximum reliability and enjoyment, and very good fuel consumption. Anyway, thank you ever so much indeed for watching this episode of Sensible Secondhand Reviews. Thank you again to Simon at Langley Prestige near Chelmsford for supplying this car. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Like this video and leave a comment below. and we'll see you again soon for more relatively expensive motoring.